And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from Oscar Ramirez, who asked the question, who would win a fight, Pennywise versus Bill Cipher? Probably should have put this on the speed round because when we break it down, it's kind of obvious. Pennywise is a being called a glimmer. We don't know if there are more of Pennywise's species or if Pennywise is the only one. But essentially, Pennywise comes from the macroverse outside of our universe. Think of it like a shell. Think of our universe as kind of like the core, and then the other outer universe surrounding it. He is, or it is, because technically its gender is unknown. It's actually believed to be a female. But its true form is not truly known, although it's believed the Deadlights are its true form. The closest, I think, was it Richie or Eddie? When he looked into the Deadlights, the closest he saw was this chittering mass of like teeth and hair. But essentially, it is the other half of the coin to Maturin the Turtle, where Maturin creates, is a giver of life. It can literally throw up universes. Pennywise is a consumer, a destroyer, and it revels in that. Pennywise crashed the Earth, God knows how long ago, hundreds if not thousands of years ago. But it landed specifically in Derry, Maine's area and kind of made itself at home. And every 23 years, it gets to wake up and feed on people. We don't know how long Pennywise actually stays awake for. I actually heard a fun theory that the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers takes place in, or excuse me, the Jeepers Creepers movies actually takes place in like the Stephen King universe, and that the Creeper is of a similar species to Pennywise because it was every 23 years it's 27 years for Pennywise, but every 23 years for 23 days it feeds for the Creeper. Kind of actually checks out a little bit when you think on it for a little while. But we don't know how long Pennywise actually feeds for. It could be a couple of days. It's not a couple of days. It's more like a couple of weeks to a couple of months. But hypothetically, 27 days, every 27 years or for 27 days, it gets to feed. That would check out. Because Pennywise doesn't seem to be around all that long when he wakes up. But that's a different story or thing to talk about entirely. Pennywise can take on any form as it's a shapeshifter, but its primary form is the dancing clown of Pennywise. A, it just likes this form a lot. B, it's easier to scare kids or people, kids specifically, finds it easier to scare, and scaring us is like salting the meat. Though Pennywise is not against killing adults either, or eating adults. It's just the reason he goes after kids is because kids are easier to scare. So Pennywise has numerous amounts of abilities, including physically stronger than his body would let you believe. He is bound by the forms he takes, the rules that he is bound by the rules of the form he takes. So if he were to turn into the giant spider, he's bound by those rules. It would take actually a lot of damage to hurt him. Conversely, though, shoving a metal fence spike, pole, whatever it was Richie did in the was it Richie or Bill? Whoever put the spike through his head, that hurt. Like he pulled it out and he kind of like creeped back, but that hurt. He actually had to back off. So he is bound by that. He can create illusions, read minds, pinpoint your deepest fear, and bring it to life. Pretty much warp reality for a little bit, well, to a varying degree. He's highly durable. He can teleport. He can become intangible. Pennywise, though, is severely weak to lack of fear because that's where his power comes from. I'm going to keep saying he because it's always portrayed by a guy. Pennywise's abilities are fueled by fear. If you are not scared of Pennywise, you lessen his power. The two best examples, obviously, of this are the big one where they all ganged up on him. And working as a group is a lot more effective than working individually. But then they ultimately were able to kill him when they worked as a group. But the other example, and I go to the movie for the second movie, where the adult Eddie got attacked by Pennywise in the leopard form, and at first he's scared, but then he just starts choking him, and he says he felt so small in my hands. Like once the fear was gone, Pennywise was losing that fight, and Pennywise opted out of that. That's why Pennywise, when he has to deal with people who are standing up to him, actually has to take stronger physical forms, like the giant spider form, because if he's still in that like humanoid form, he's gonna get his teeth kicked in. And even then, in Spider-Man, he got his teeth kicked in because ultimately when it comes down to it, Pennywise, it's not a battle of physicality, usually. It's a battle of wills, more or less. If you can just stand up and just keep showing and proving that you're not afraid of him, that he does not scare you, you will weaken him. You will lessen his power. Just every time they hurled an insult at him just to prove that they weren't afraid of him, it was almost like he was being hit by something. Just, pooh, ah. It's like, why you pooh, ah? Like, that's what would happen. Then he ultimately shrank, and then they tore his heart out. So Bill Cipher is an extra-dimensional demon. Give me 1 second here. I want to get this down as best I can here. Bill Cipher, there we go, he was a triangle interdimensional demon, formerly existent only in the mindscape before succeeding in gaining access to the real world. Now, if hypothetically we are talking about Bill not in the real world and just kind of limited to what he can do when he's in the extra dimensional space, or the mind space, I guess I think it's referred to, whatever it's referred to. Yeah, the mindscape, there we go. Then, yeah, Pennywise can win this fight because Pennywise isn't stupid enough to trust Bill. Arrogant enough, maybe, thinking he is stronger than this thing, but stupid enough, no, definitely not. And why is this? I gotta scroll all the way down instead of the wiki's just being slow. I want to get the abilities down as exact as possible here. He can't. Yeah, in the mindscape he can't access the third dimension at all. Particularly because he's just incorporeal. He can only basically summoning him seems to put the people around him into a sleep-like trance, which allows him to manifest. People observing are unaware they've fallen asleep until Bill leaves. More or less, he can make deals. He can also possess people, too. But, again, this is not something that Pennywise would allow. So the only way we can actually have this fight take place is for Bill to be already summoned in the real world. After smashing the interdimensional rift, creating a gateway from the nightmare realm, Bill became incarnate, which allowed him to both exist and affect the real world. In his physical form, he's nigh omnipotent. Oh, I forgot to bring up the dead lights for Pennywise. Pennywise has this thing. It has these 3 lights. They seem to exist in his body. They can cough up, and basically any living thing is susceptible to him. This can either kill them straight out or drive them crazy. It's believed these are his real form because they can be injured and hurt. This leads into the concept of eldritch horror because our minds can't process the old ones, which is what the Cthulhu and all that are. So our minds either make us go insane because we get like this is not supposed to be real, or we flat out just die, like our eyes burst out of our head. Kind of a similar concept. Anyway, when Bill is brought into the real world, he's nigh omnipotent, bringing inanimate objects to life, turning people into statues of the material of his choice. He can regenerate every aspect of himself, create everything from objects to elaborate pocket dimensions, produce electric charges shot from his eye. His abilities in this form include Operation, Inter-Universal Travel, Matter Manipulation, Telekinesis, Pyrokinesis, Time Manipulation, Telepathy, Mind Control, Illusion Manipulation, Dream Manipulation, Nightmare Inducement, Madness Inducement, can create bubbles that induce madness in whatever they touch, Clairvoyance, Object Summoning, Intangibility, Reality Warping, Levitation, Possession, Precognition, Size Shifting, Fourth Wall Awareness, and resistance to reality warping and space-time manipulation. He can even surpass the Time Baby's power, which he displays by disintegrating him during the Weird Mageddon Part 1. Bill himself declares that he can control space matter, and after getting Time Baby out of the way, time itself. So, all the few limitations he has would not apply in this fight. This is not a being most people could fight. This is not a being that Pennywise himself could go up against. This is someone who basically supersedes anything Pennywise is really capable of doing. His one big out would be the deadlights, and Bill's, first off, not human. Technically, it's arguable whether or not he's even a living organic thing at all. Because he's an interdimensional demon, he's probably something else entirely. So the deadlights most likely would not work on this man, which means Pennywise, long and short of it, has nothing that hurts Bill whatsoever. Not only that, Bill can do everything Pennywise can do on a grand universal scale 10 times over with everything else that Pennywise can't do. What little reality warping Pennywise can do, Bill isn't even affected by it. He's not to be clear, he's not immune to reality warping. But he is resistant to reality warping and space-time manipulation, which makes that Discord Bill Cipher fight when that gets around to death battle very interesting. Because I think I gave a prediction on that of how I think that might go down. So yeah, this is one where one character is going to get stomped. Again, I probably should have put this in the speed round video coming up next week, but oh well. Until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks next time.